Hello everybody, this is Brittany and Byron, and you're listening to Dirty Laundry with B&B, a podcast about real, relatable relationships.
Transparency at its finest, we air it out and clear it up, offering couples and those seeking healthy relationships a safe, inclusive space to open the vents and find resolve.
Hello, Dirty Laundry listeners. We are so excited to be back today, and first time we're interviewing a couple since we moved to Tampa.
Yeah, it's been a long time, y'all. As y'all know, we had this long trek down to Florida. We keep mentioning it because it's such a big staple in our lives right now. We're trying to get more comfortable as the days progress, but we can't leave y'all hanging. So without further ado, we have a great couple here to talk about a lot of different changes, transitioning, challenges, but also the upsides in relationships. So we have here with us today Anthony and Jenna Abraham. Thank y'all so much for seeing us
welcome.
today. What's up?
What's up? Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, man. We're so glad to have y'all on here. So myself and Anthony, we met at Shepherd Air Force Base, which is in Wichita Falls, Texas, many moons ago. You know, as you get older, you're allowed to say that.
I'm not getting older. He's speaking for himself, of course.
That's right. She stays still.
Stay the same.
She stays still. Time does not move for you at all. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, no, but he was so inspiring to me in my military career, but not only that, but just as a person, just a great human being. And so I thought it'd be great to have him and his family on because they also have an inspiring story. And, you know, that's what our platform is about. As we had talked about before we started recording, the importance of being transparent, being open and honest and communicating, not only with your partner, but then sharing your stories with other couples as well, because we know that there are other people dealing with the same things that we're going through.
That's right. And we're on a journey, right? Like all of us have stories and different marriages, and it's just important that on this platform we use it to talk to real couples that are going through real things, and hopefully others can hear your story and can relate and know, hey, I'm not alone.
For sure.
You know?
Right.
So what we love to do at the beginning of this is we want to hear your love story. How did you guys meet? Tell us about yourself.
You want me to go or you?
You go first.
Okay. So we were in San Antonio. So for all your listeners, for everybody, we were both MTIs, and for people that are not in the military, that's drill sergeant in San Antonio. So we were there from 2020 to 2024. And so I'm brand new, right? I just got out of training to be an instructor. We had a mandatory fun day at the unit. So we're playing kickball, right?
Okay.
So not realizing that I'm getting a little bit older, right? I'm not super old, but I didn't stretch. This is the most important thing about how we met.
Yeah.
I didn't stretch. We're in a championship game. I kick a ball, right? And from our sports fans, it's a single, right? I'm only going to first base. But I thought, and I knew that they thought I was just going to first. I was going to go for second base. I was going to turn two.
As the ball's in the air, you knew I'm rounding first, I'm going to second.
I already knew.
Gotcha.
I already knew. I was going to take off. And when I tried to take off, I felt the pop.
Oh, no.
My right hamstring must have pulled, popped, twisted, something. It was terrible.
Just trying to show off.
I was out. So I go to the training table. I hit the trainer, Miss Lisa. I love her to death. She put her little elbow in there. I mean, the bruising was crazy. So I couldn't walk. I couldn't really run. Couldn't do anything. A part of the mandatory fun was a scavenger hunt. I'm late to the scavenger hunt because I couldn't walk.
Of course.
So I walk into the room late.
Half the teams are already out.
Half the teams are gone. Her team's in the room still. And according to her, when I walk in, the big old light was behind me.
Like slow motion.
It was the glare off of my bald head. That's what it was.
There you go. A little illumination going.
And then we had our mask on for 2020, right? For COVID during 2020. Didn't see each other's face. All I saw were her eyes. All she saw was this big old dome piece. I'm limping around late, right? And so we stuck together that entire time. I don't know why you decided to hang out with me.
You know, the Air Force never leave an airman behind.
Never leave.
There you go.
Right.
You was hobbling, so she had to.
He
She
couldn't
had to.
run,
Was
and I was
mandatory.
like, I can't leave him. Like the team's gone, so I was like, we'll walk.
Let me just stay
There
with
you
him.
go.
He looks okay. Let me just.
All right. So the lingering question, though, is before you continue, is did you make it to second base, though?
Oh,
It was like in the movies
Okay,
when
okay.
the sprinkler pops up and like you run over and he just
like those little B-Dubs commercials. Yeah. No, it looked like I got popped. Like it looked like I just fell
It
out.
was
And
not
it's
good.
just, it was
Yikes.
it was
terrible.
not good.
It was awful.
Your team won though.
Oh, we won. I mean,
Well, that's
Okay, you took the dub. There you go.
we got the sacrifice. Sacrifice. I'll send you the picture later of what the bruise looked like.
We
It
need to
was,
see
so
that.
rough.
Yes.
and so we just, that's how we kind of met. That's how we met. And then we just hit it off from there, from that moment of walking around the base, doing that scavenger hunt, asking questions. I thought I was slick. I said, man, are you here with family or, you know, what's up with you?
Yeah.
Like, no family. Oh, okay.
Okay. Cool. We got that.
Got it.
Got it. But then she hit me with the same question. I said, no, it's just me. We decided to get together and try and have a experience San Antonio together. So that's how we met. And then the first date was she came to my apartment, game night. Let's have some games. I'll buy some wine. Let me just meet you and get to know you.
Yeah.
And it was good. Music, good games. I let her win some games.
No, I won fair and square. Still up. I'm still up on the series.
Yeah. I need to make sure I get my lick back.
So how long have you guys been married?
Been married for a year and a half now.
Yeah, year and a half. Yeah, we
Yep.
got married in 23.
February of 23.
February
And then
23.
we had our ceremony in August of 23.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
That's
So-
really common for military folks.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, because we knew
It's-
we were leaving, so we were like, let's get the paperwork side of it out of the way,
Yep.
and then we'll have the ceremony. And it
yeah.
worked out perfect.
That's what happened. But she kissed me first. That's what I was getting at. So
Oh.
that game night, she kissed me.
That's important.
Hey, you know what? A woman knows what she wants. I mean, go for it, right? Shoot your shot.
You know, I was trying to just be cool. Let me just get to know you first, because I don't want her to think, oh, you know, this guy, I'm in his place, whatever. She's still living in a hotel. I said, let me just be friendly and cordial. Let's get to know each other. She said, nah.
I need to know this part first, and then
She said,
Yeah.
She said,
Because if there's no
I
spark,
want
she's
you.
going to go,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
I want you. And that's kind of like how things kind of started. But being in a marriage prior to this, I was intentional with what I was trying to do. I let it know right off the bat, like, I'm dating to marry. I'm not dating to just date. So if you're not looking for something serious, I'm ready for something serious now.
yes,
And,
yes.
and she was. And so it kind of went by fast. You said, Brittany, that it was common for military, and it is, but I think when you're intentional and you're genuine and authentic, you can't put a timeline on how you feel or how you love someone, right? Like, people always ask that question, how soon is too soon to say I love you? I don't think there's a specific time on that. You can't plan everything.
Mm-mm.
Especially love.
Especially love, because it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, whoa, I know this feeling. This is,
Yeah.
I didn't think I was ready for this again. And I was. And so you say it happened fast, kind of fast for people, but when you're open and honest and intentional, things will happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like how we met, where we are now, just,
And I want to say too, I don't think that's fast at all. I mean, I think that is relevant to the person and the relationship. But you mentioned you were married before. And so Jenna, like, how had you been married before? Was that something that was like a little bit intimidating to you? How did you feel about that?
It didn't scare me at all. It didn't, even knowing that he has a daughter with his previous marriage, it didn't like scare me away or anything. I was like, okay, this is him. Like, this is the person that I'm falling in love with everything. Like, that's him. So it didn't scare me in any way. It didn't like, oh, let me rethink this. I was like, no, like, and him being so honest with it, because he could have kept it from me.
Mhm.
And I've not been married before. So not understanding a marriage, like, he helped me like get there. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I was just curious. So then on the flip side, Anthony, like you had a 6-year-old. Were you like nervous to like, how did you introduce her? Were you nervous to like,
Okay. Yes. So prior to meeting Jenna, I was in another relationship, long distance. We were trying to make things work, but I just wasn't happy. And so throughout that relationship, it was about 6 months. There was not a point in time where I felt it was okay to introduce my daughter to her. And it didn't help that we were long distance as well. But I mentioned being intentional and dating to marry. Well, I knew that I was falling for her, and I knew that I wasn't going to, I was going to put my everything into the relationship and into her. And when I started to have those strong feelings for Jenna, I said, okay, this is someone that I see myself with. And this is someone that is going to have to meet my daughter.
Yeah.
And so that was something that it just took some time to, as I continued to get to know her, that I needed to just make sure that my feelings were authentic and it wasn't something that was fabricated or just in the moment. And once I realized, okay, I can see myself marrying her, that, okay, I think she can be introduced to my daughter.
Yeah.
But when you have a daughter or a child from a previous marriage, you have to involve the other person as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I know what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. I have to make sure I have those conversations with my child's mother.
Yes.
And say, hey, this is where I'm at. I met someone. Right. I met someone. This is how I'm feeling. This is where things could go. There's a potential that she's going to be in our daughter's life.
Sure.
Right. And so that way you prepare the other parent, like, okay, he is moving on or he's moved on. He's found someone, all those different things like that. So I have to keep the other parent involved as much as possible. Like, she's family. She will always be family. And and I make sure to tell her that when we first met, I said, this is my daughter. This is my ex-wife. She's not going anywhere.
Yes.
And if you're okay with that, then okay, we can do this.
Golly, that's so powerful. You got me goosebumps. I do this all the time though, right? Yeah, goodness gracious. No, that's such a good word. And I was hoping that you would get there. I love the word intentionality. I hear you use that, very purposeful. And the speed in which you get into a relationship with someone truly, truly depends on how genuine you are with that person. Because if you wait, right, if you wait for umpteen years or several months to truly learn that other person and open up, that's when the decision to stay with that person or to leave them is made, as opposed to just being open and authentic first and then saying, okay, this ain't going to work. Why not do that? Why not save the heartache or the hardship down the road when you can just be authentic now? And if they don't like you, love me or leave me.
Right.
All right, let's move on and be safe and secure in that. So I appreciate you sharing that. That's huge.
Thank you. Thank you. And I would tell you, I think what you said is important because people don't like to be uncomfortable, especially men.
Facts.
Men. So we like to be macho. We like manly things. Right. But the hard stuff, exactly, the jump ball. But the hard stuff is what's going on up here and here. We don't want to talk about. Rub some dirt on it. Crying is weak and soft. It's not. There's so much strength and vulnerability, not just with yourself, right? Like, there's so much growth that happens when you are self-aware and you go to war with yourself.
Yeah.
But in a relationship too, there's nothing wrong with being open and honest about where you're at up here and in here. That's where the work gets done.
Facts.
I'm not about to sit here and say, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, when I'm not okay.
Right. But so many people do.
No.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The issue is that for me, I can't speak for all men, but for me, I feel like when I do open up, because we have the same feelings women do, in my opinion. Human beings all feel something. Everyone chooses to express them in different ways. And the overarching thought is that men deal with it differently than women, right? So we'll just stick with that for now. For me, I suppress things because I feel as though if I express the many things that I'm thinking, just like she does, I'm whining or complaining, which is a huge X for men, right? I should not be doing that as a man, as a husband, as a father, expressing how I feel about everything. But she wants me to do that more than I allow it. And I think that when it does happen and I do it in the right way, there are so many things positive that happen between the two of us. And so I love that you expressed that too. That's really important. Jenna, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that when he expresses himself, like it's just too much? Is that something that you're used to? What have you experienced in your past with men? And then what has changed?
Yeah, so I was in a long-term relationship before meeting him, and it just was, we were young, college, high school, and it just didn't work out. So like getting with him, it was complete opposite because didn't talk about anything. So when he would, at first I was like, okay, like this is him, but that's who he is as a person in a relationship, just him as a human. And now if he's like a little off, I'm like, what's wrong? Like, tell me what is wrong. Cause like now I can tell like when something is bothering him, but he's very good about like, if something's bothering, I'm going to tell you, like, I'm going to express it. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to our family for me to hold it in. And then one day just like blow up about it. So I don't know. I'm very easygoing too. So like learning him, like when we first got together it just came natural. Like there never was a question about anything or how he reacted to things or did anything. So it's normal.
Yeah.
Even like when we first were together, like it just was okay. We talked about everything, which was good. It created a very healthy household, relationship, marriage. Like it created something so healthy.
And a safe place for her.
Yes.
She wasn't always afforded the safe place to express herself. So she's very easygoing, but there's moments where things are affecting her and she had a hard time
like opening up
to that.
Like something bothering me. It took me a while because I didn't want to upset him. Yeah. Like me being upset, I didn't want him to get upset. So I just was like, I'll just hold on to it. It's fine. It'll go away. But now, like, if something, I'm like, listen here. He like loves it.
But that's what I wanted. Don't keep me. I can't reach. I'm not Dr. Strange. I can't read your mind. Right. So let me know what you're thinking and feeling so we can talk about it. It takes a lot for me to be upset. And I'm not going to be mad at you for feeling your feelings.
Sure.
We can talk about it. Or there's probably an explanation as to why I did something or why I said something. And let's figure it out together. That's what we do.
Right. And Anthony, like it sounds like your vulnerability and like you made the situation with like, you introducing your daughter and you being very honest, made the situation really like smooth and easy. Is there any advice you have outside of just saying how you feel to someone that would be going through that situation and maybe a little bit nervous, or how do I do this? I don't want to make anybody upset. And we all know like the faux pas with like blended families, like baby mama's crazy, like that's what we all see. But we know that's not true, right? I mean, it's not every situation.
So I do. I think I'm from Chicago and I come from kind of a blended family. My parents split up when we were younger. My dad made it a point to make sure that he was in our life constantly, consistently. My mom was able to give the space and the time, and it was like, you better come get your kids. And we made it work, right? So I'm grateful for my parents for having that emotional intelligence to do that. And so my advice would be, because where I'm from, you see the opposite of what I'm doing. I'm from the inner city of Chicago, and it's F him, F her. People are hurt and they don't know how to process the hurt.
Yes.
And so that way, let's just be resentful and spiteful and petty.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my ex-wife, which she has been amazing, is not about me. It's not about you. It's not about my feelings. It's not about your feelings. It's not, we didn't work out. That's fine. We can handle that as adults. It's about the child that we brought into this world that needs both of her parents.
Yes.
Right. And so for the listeners who might be in something similar, keep the main thing, which is the child. It's not about how you feel or how they made you feel. You deal with that on your own. And if you're having a hard time dealing with that, then you probably need to do more work on yourself, and don't be petty about it, because it's not just affecting you or the other parent, it's affecting the child. Mm-hmm. And so when me and my ex-wife split up, my daughter was 7 months.
Oh, wow, baby.
And so we've had to learn how to cope with and deal with our feelings, the separation. What does this look like? You throw in COVID, how much time I've been away, being active duty. And so we've done a lot of work, not just me, but so is Jenna, and so is my ex-wife's husband, her new husband. We've done a lot of work to make sure we get to a place where we can have a group chat and talk about all the kids.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's not easy. It's hard work. And it's hard looking in the mirror, dealing with a lot of this stuff. You have to give yourself grace. And so those are the two things I would give the advice, Brittany, the advice I would give would be give yourself grace, right? But keep the main thing, which would be the child or children, however many, children you have with your ex-spouse. It's about them more than anything. And if you love your kids more than you talk about you do, or you post that you do, then do the work in here and here. But no, going back to that uncomfortable place, be uncomfortable for your kids.
Yes.
That's kind of like where I'm at.
Yes. So give yourself grace and keep the main thing the main thing. We've talked about grace often.
We have.
I want to talk about keeping the main thing. And then in this context, we're talking about the child first. So, but before we get there, I also heard you talk about the importance of getting to a place, which requires some sort of vision. And I think that when you're in a challenging relational situation with a current significant other and a previous significant other, that you're always in the present because of the nastiness and the pettiness and all of the isms that we alluded to before. That requires a lot of energy right now and doesn't allow for us to think about what the future state is.
Want it to look like.
What we want it to look like. And again, we go back to that word of intentionality. So great words there. But for the main thing, me and Brittany had just had this conversation. Was that last night during dinner? We had talked about dreamings. I just made that word up, I think. Dreaming. I like dreamings. I think I might keep that. Yeah. We're talking about dreaming. The importance of But there are things that I can accomplish or could accomplish had we not been together, or if we weren't together right now. And she the same. But right now, although we feel like we have skills that could have us do other things had we not had the specific relationship that's in us right now, our focus can't be on what could be. Our focus is on the children. Obviously, our relationship first. That's just our perspective. But our children have got to be on the forefront. What is it that we can do to make ourselves better so that way our relationship can be better, so that way we can raise positive, contributing men,
humans, yes,
into this world. And so I love that. It's a great word.
Yes. So I also wanted to say too, I was listening and I was thinking it's really a win for the main thing, because you said your ex-wife is remarried and you're remarried, and like now your 6-year-old gets to have so much love and you guys all have a good thing. Like it's a great thing to know that she has 4 people that love her abundantly. So that's a blessing, not everyone has that. And I want to say too, Anthony, you're so right. You use all these words, bitter, resentful. Byron and I both come from a blended family, but everything that you said is exactly what my experience was. And so it's interesting and it's so refreshing to see people changing that, and it takes a lot of work, I'm sure, because even when I think back to my own childhood, I think my mother was like, I was 13, so she got remarried, and I'm like, that's such a detrimental time. And so it's so important to like try to incorporate the child into that piece. And that didn't happen. And so there is a lot of resentment. There is a lot of bitterness towards even the person they marry, because it's like, now they're here and you weren't here before. And so it just sounds like you guys are doing it right. And it's a beautiful thing. And you can both be happy and have a healthy marriage now going forward,
Yeah, it took a lot. It took a lot for us to get there. I think for me individually, I had a lot of work to do for that's our oldest daughter, Zamia, for her stepfather to be so heavily involved. And I'm so far away because of our military career that it took a lot in me to remain humble and accept the fact that he's doing an amazing job. And he's looking out for not just our daughter, but for my ex-wife as well. Their well-being is very important to me. And he's done an amazing job. And it took for us to sit down whenever we do go travel, when we go see them, we sit down and have 2-3 hour conversations, the four of us, laughs, tears, very authentic, genuine conversation led with love and making sure that the child or the children is what's kept, in the forefront, because we can work through as adults what we're thinking and feeling, and we can come to a place or get to a spot where we understand each other, hopefully. And then we figure it out from there as adults. But the challenge is doing the adult things to make sure that the children are okay.
Yeah.
And so it just took a lot, Brittany. And thank you for sharing that, because at 13 years old, that's just a brand new teenager, right? Independent. You got it all. Let's get your driver's license and so it takes a lot. And so, yeah, that's kind of like, we just had a lot of conversation, uncomfortable conversation.
Yes. And Jenna, how have you felt? How has this been for you? This is the only marriage, and it sounds like it's a healthy, great marriage. So it's a wonderful, kudos to you. But how do you feel like with the vision and everything going forth, how has it been for you?
It's been amazing, because same thing, I'm not from a big city, but I've seen friends get divorces or separate with kids, and it's been nasty. So that's what I was like a lot of us think that way, like, oh, it's not going to be a good situation. Someone's going to be bitter about something. So it's just going to be about a lot of fighting. And just knowing that they have a very good co-parenting relationship has helped. I was beyond nervous to meet his daughter and his ex-wife, because I'm a very reserved person. So I was like, I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing, make the wrong impression. But since the day I met both of them, they have been nothing but wonderful to me, to my baby daughter, my baby girl, they love her like their own. They'll FaceTime with us and talk to her, and we send them pictures. So it's been everything and more that I've ever thought of, a co-parenting relationship. And I think we'll just continue to grow with them, and hopefully we get moved closer to them, because we're kind of far away right now. So that puts a wrench in a lot. So hopefully we get closer and the kids can grow up together. We can continue to grow and just be there for Zamia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. And it's so great too, because it's such a great example for her to see everybody happy, no one fighting, no one, that's just a clean, pure example. So that's wonderful.
Yeah. So as the oldest, is becoming aware that she's going to be a big sister, how do y'all continue to encourage her and ensure that she knows that, hey, we're here for you, we love you, you're in the forefront or a part of the family as well? What does that look like?
Yeah, I have to give all the praise to her mom and her stepdad, because they have 2 children of their own together as well. Mm-hmm. And so she's been the big sister to her little brothers for a while. And this is the first time that she's been around our daughter for an extended period of time. Mm-hmm. And so I think she's used to it. Mm-hmm. The age gap is 6 and 2. Right. Yeah. So there's a little bit of frustration from her. Mm-hmm. Right. But from our oldest, but I think she's done a good job, and I make sure that I give her the big sister privilege. So when I was growing up, my older siblings got privileges that I didn't get.
Right.
So when our youngest goes down to sleep for the night, you get to stay up a little bit later. Here's a little bit of candy. Let's kick it. Let's do our thing together. And so that way she feels, or let's go run an errand, just me and you. And she's like, oh, daddy, daughter time. Yeah, it is. Let's go. Matter of fact, hop in the front seat real quick. Right? Like those little things like that make sure that she's getting all of the attention and our attention is not divided.
Yeah.
Right. Or I'll take our youngest and she gets to spend time with Jenna. And so that way she's building a relationship and a bond with her stepmom. And so that way she gets to experience us together, us individually, and she doesn't feel like she's being neglected.
Yes.
So that's how we've been able to do it since we've been together. But her mom and her stepdad have already been doing that with her brothers who are 4 and about to be 2.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Nice.
No, that's good word. That's good word.
I love it. And their stories sound so good. I mean, you guys make it sound so simple, which is a good thing. And I like the advice of just trying to keep it the main thing and kind of focus. Is there anything else you would share? I know military kind of makes it a little bit different when blending a family or coming in. Is there any relationship advice that either of you would give?
It's so easy for me to say because I've been at peace with all the things I have done and not done. Like I can be open and honest because I've dealt with it internally about my life, about the things I've done right, the things I've done wrong. And so kind of just umbrella advice would be do the work to be at peace with yourself. Because oftentimes a lot of people will go through life looking back, and whether it's something that affected them growing up, whether it's a situation, a person, it can be a number of things that people keep dwelling on, right? And so if you physically walk forward and look back, you're going to run into something, right? And so if you don't deal with the things you need to deal with and address, I call that an anchor. You got to anchor on your life that you're failing to release. But the crazy thing about it is you have the key to release that anchor, but you're failing to do so because you're being stubborn or you don't want to be uncomfortable. You don't want to look in the mirror. Maybe you have to forgive someone. Maybe you got to forgive yourself. Maybe you need closure from a situation. Maybe you need to create the closure because you're never going to get the closure that you're looking for. Something is holding you back from you being at peace with yourself. And I found so much power and strength in being at peace with all the things I have done right and done wrong and where I'm at as a young Black and Puerto Rican male, that I can sit here and talk about everything and anything. And I can be okay with harsh words or criticism. And I'm going to take it as feedback. I'm not going to take it personal because it's not about me. It's about the performance, right? Like people confuse feedback or criticism. It's not about you. It's about the act or behavior or performance. Let's switch it a little bit and let's figure out how I can be better. And so I think because I've done the work and because I've been through a lot, I've been able to do this. Yeah. Because I was uncomfortable with myself. I did have a hard time looking in the mirror and being proud of who I was. But I did the work to get there, to be proud, right? And to mature, to be able to be in a marriage again. Yeah. And so that's kind of like umbrella advice I would give is let's learn how to be at peace with ourselves. So that way, when you challenge or when you come across different challenges, it's easier to overcome because you've done the work in here and in here. You know who you are. You have that self-awareness to overcome.
Yes.
Ready for the test. Yep.
Yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the transcript from this interview and just put it in Word format and then put a copyright on there. It's going to say dirty laundry and maybe a little bit of Abraham on there, but man, that's all good. Like, I feel like, man, you're speaking to a lot of people when you're providing that advice, to include myself, because we all have anchors. Even if you have the key to release it, a new one pops up in a different form. But that requires a lot of you reflecting and thinking and having conversations with your significant other or whoever your trust agents are to make sure that you're keeping yourself honest about the way that you're feeling about things. And so I feel like for me, I do deal with a lot of those things. I try to address it a lot, but she has been holding the key too, right? Sometimes you just can't find it, and some days like, it's right here now. Let me get that. Yeah, let me get that for you, right? But you gotta ask first. You know we don't like to ask. You gotta ask for it first. But yeah, but it's tough, man. So that's great. That's great word. I think too, and I'm glad you spoke about it too, because as you all were speaking earlier about how easygoing you are and how flexible you are, and how I'm okay with the previous relationships. That requires so much forward thought, but then also you have had to have dealt with something in the past. There aren't very many people that are very easygoing that have not dealt with crazy challenges in the past or have had crazy experiences, because people that get things the way that they're supposed to go all the time and then something pops up, like they're not ready for that because their expectation is that things are going to be perfect when the reality is not. And so when you're talking about that, Anthony, I think about also our relationship. Brittany and myself, we talk about it all the time. In order for you to have a strong, successful relationship, you have got to have gone through something. And I'm not wishing that on anyone, because the vision is that you have it easy and everything's great and everything's bubbly, right? But our relationship is as strong as it is because of the challenges that we've been through and because we were able to overcome those things. And man, if we can get through that crap,
through anything.
You know what I mean? Like I could do this, we could deal with a 45-minute fiasco with technology trying to get this interview to go. We can handle that. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much power in that. I'm okay. I mentioned earlier that we were drill sergeants. And when you're sitting there with a bunch of impressionable trainees, right? There's so much power that you have to change someone's life. And so that's why it was so powerful for us. But I would tell them, I'm okay with being uncomfortable. Matter of fact, I want to be uncomfortable. I would say not physically, because I hate being hot. Don't like it. We talked about being bald already. Can't stand it,
breaking
right?
hamstrings.
But if I'm uncomfortable mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I want that. I want that. And I'm going to embrace it because I went through the hard stuff and I appreciate the hard stuff. And that way I know how to help someone else in the future. In 3.5 years, 4 years time, we've impacted thousands of lives, and their stories are incredible.
yes.
I want to be able to change someone's life. So give me the hard stuff. I embrace it. I want it, actually. Make me uncomfortable, because I know that my impact is going to be exponential for the next person that I help. Because the way they live their life or their lives is going to be impacted by something I said or I did, or something that just went off with them. And then their family, their friends, their children are all going to be impacted by that light bulb going off, all because of me.
For sure.
It's selfless. And I would be selfish in the fact that give me all of your discomfort, give me all of your inconvenience, give me all of you being uncomfortable. I will take it because I've done the work on myself to be able to handle it or figure out, okay, I know I need to do this. Something's not right here. I should probably talk to this person because they're good with that. And then I'll be able to help the next person,
Yes.
That's kind of like how I think about being uncomfortable, and especially being in our marriage, with how uncomfortable it can be being a blended family.
Sure. Having that outside influence sometimes can become an inside influence, I'm sure. So absolutely.
Yeah. So Jenna, this being your first marriage, I'm sure, as a little girl, I want to say I'm sure, geez. As a little girl, even I mean a little boy, we all envision what our marriage is going to look like. Right. So this looks a little bit different than what, most people look like. Can you talk about that? Can you talk about kind of what your vision was, and then this happens and then it's like, okay, well, let's figure it out. Like, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I was such a tomboy growing up. Like I was like very sports. I love horses. So I was like I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids. I'm going to be the aunt forever and just like enjoy life. Like that was me. And I don't know. I just never envisioned it until I met him. Like literally until I was like, okay, like I can see myself being a wife, being a mother. Like okay, this is what I want. And I think because he made it so comfortable for me and just so like, I knew I was safe. Like the second I met him, I just knew this is going to be my person. And if he doesn't want to be with me, I got to move back to Ohio. Like I have to go back right now. I cannot be here. I got to go. So I think once I met him is when I was like, okay, like this is everything that I want and need for me to be able to grow into a wife and to grow into a mother. Because I always was like, I don't want kids. Like, I want to be an aunt. My sister can do that. She can have all the babies. My friends can have all the babies. Like, I can pass them back. But getting in a relationship with him, I was like, I can do that. Like, I can because he's going to be super supportive and he's going to help me learn and grow into this person and this human being I need to be to have this life. So I think once I met him, thankfully he hurt his hamstring. Because I think if you didn't hurt your hamstring, I don't think.
I wasn't with a lip. Home run.
With a lip because of the swag. It was the hamstring. It was the hamstring, but it worked though. It worked.
Yeah,
that's the ongoing joke.
Literally,
if I do anything, she's like, "Watch the hamstring."
He's like, "I'm gonna go for a run." I'm like, "Careful with the ham stretch."
I love it.
So in your opinion then, Jenna, so we're going to keep moving with that. I love how you ended that. What has been the most rewarding part in your opinion in being in a blended family?
Just how easy it's been and like how his ex-wife has just been so wonderful to me from day one. Like the second that she knew about me, it was never like, she never turned an eye to me. Like it just, I never felt uncomfortable being on FaceTime with her, meeting her in person. It's been because you imagine like, and you see on TV, like how nasty they can be. Like it's never been that on either side, like with them and their relationship that they've had, like when they have conversations, when her and I have conversations, like it's never been bad. So it's been so wonderful. And like when people ask her, like, oh my gosh, like how is it? I'm like, well, it's great. Like, what do you mean? It's like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, she loves my daughter. Like, when we talk, like with his daughter, she'll pass the phone off. She's sick.
Her attention span.
Her attention. And then we'll all talk. Like we ended up all on FaceTime talking, just all the good stuff. So it's been wonderful. And I hope it stays that way forever. I don't ever see it not going the opposite way.
Nah.
It's been helpful for me because I don't have a child with my ex. Like we were never married. So at first it was kind of like, okay, like how do I navigate this? But they've made it so easy because they have such a good co-parenting relationship that I was like, okay, like this is us. Like, so yeah.
I love it. Okay. So I have one more final question too. What marriage advice, just in general, would you have for anybody?
Ooh, which marriage?
What is the key to marriage?
I would say my advice is communication. Like, just communicate. And like we said earlier, it was really hard for me to communicate when we first got together. But once I was like, okay, like I know I can say certain things and how I feel and what's bothering me is going to help our relationship. It just carried on into our marriage. And it made it so easy and just, I'm so comfortable and I know I'm safe and I'm hoping that I do the same for him.
Not at all.
Create that safe space, but it's just communicate because a lot of people, like when you first get in relationships, like you don't want to tell them a lot of stuff and like you don't want to
scare them
away. And it just, from the beginning, both of us, we laid everything out, like who we are, where we're from, what we've been through. So I think that helped us just continue on and
builds from there.
Yeah.
Got to.
There's still a
hope
lot of
that
days where I don't want to communicate,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but he makes me.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
There you
"No,
go.
There's always
Let
one,
me know.
Anthony. It's okay. I can relate.
yeah, like, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. He's like, no,
Mm-mm.
we're sitting down, talk to me. And I'm like, fine.
From this point forward, I'm going to work on that. From this point forward.
You heard it.
I like to try and do the knee to knee, right? Where you sit down knee to knee or knees to knees, and let's phones away, TV off, kids asleep. What's up? Talk to me. And I think also another thing would be how you say things is important and the words you use. Like one thing I like to try and do and I work on constantly is the difference between thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like when someone says, I feel like you hate me, that's not a feeling. It's a thought. I think that you hate me, or I think you feel some type of way about me. So I make sure when we're talking about something, I say, man, babe, when you did this, it made me feel this, or I think this. And so internalizing, processing, and thinking before you speak will make all the difference in how you communicate.
That's huge. She's writing that down for me. That's huge. But here's the thing, like there is a difference, love that, between thoughts and feelings. Thoughts are not feelings, but thoughts can become feelings because what you think do sometimes have a biological response. And that's what happens with me. So what happens is you think, you don't express it because I've already surpassed the, hey, babe, I think that you did this to me, or I think that you're doing this. And she could have said, no, that's not what happened. She could provide me with her input. And then I'd be like, okay, exit, done. But because I did not respond or communicate with her, as you're saying, Jenna, I didn't communicate that with Brittany. Now those thoughts have now become biologicals. Like I am now feeling some type of way because I have this thought that's ingrained in my mind. So that's such a
it is. It's a good word.
Man, thanks for pulling that out for me. That's a good word. Got it.
but you said something that's crucial. Your thoughts can become your feelings. It's such a fine line, but doing the work and realizing or processing instead of having this emotional response. Right. One of my good friends and good brothers has an analogy that says, like for my combat sports fans, if you get hit with a punch, a boxer, MMA fighter, and you get rocked, you want to get your lick back.
Yeah.
But what happens when you try to get your lick back? You gonna get knocked out. Yeah. Right. But if you get knocked out or you get a crazy punch and you process, okay, read, and then react with your own counter. Right. It's the difference between a reaction and a response.
Yes. That's good.
Yeah. You had all kinds of good nuggets.
I can't handle anymore. I'm laughing because when you talk about the knee to knee, okay, yes, tell me what's up. Brittany, she makes me watch all these Hallmark movies. And I'm like, man, and I'm gonna emphasize makes me. I'm gonna emphasize makes me.
Christmas time, okay?
But she makes me watch all that. And I'm like, man, ain't nobody talking like that, dog. Like, no one's talking. But I'm laughing like, hey, he's talking like that. I guess he's talking like that. Yeah. I need to work on that.
Y'all need to be in a Hallmark movie. That's what we're saying.
Y'all need to be in a Hallmark movie. Yeah.
No. Well, we might be able to pull it off. But it just takes a lot of hard work. I'm glad that I'm able to drop a little nugget. She's able to drop a little nugget. Yeah. It takes being uncomfortable. You gotta be okay in that place, emotionally and mentally, to be uncomfortable, to be able to, for the greater good of your relationship, your marriage, your co-parenting relationship that we're in, or even just like, we have to be so comfortable and solid in our marriage to overcome any challenges or inconvenience that the military might bring, or being interracial. That's something else that we have to kind of be mindful of. And so I think doing the work and being uncomfortable in our home is allowing us to be okay when it's coming from an external source.
Facts. No fiction told today.
Yeah,
man, that's such a good word. Thank y'all so much again for joining us. Listeners, if y'all didn't listen right now, you don't listen tomorrow, make sure you listen at some point, because so many good words were shared on today. Keeping the main thing, giving yourself grace, being patient with each other, communicating with one another. All great things that maybe we've heard about before, but sometimes we fail to implement in our everyday lives. So thank y'all for those reminders.
Yes, thank you
For
both.
sure. I can sit here all day. I can sit here all day. Y'all make it so easy, but I can sit here all day and talk about it. But the challenge is for the listeners and for everyone that's in a marriage or relationship is, are you going to do it? My father used to say, God rest his soul, it's not what you say, is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Are your words and your actions going to line up? Don't tell me you love me, but your actions are showing me otherwise. Don't tell me you want to do this, but you're scared of expressing yourself. All those different things. We can talk about it, or you can say those things and listen to all the podcasts you want to listen to, but are you worth your salt? Your words and your actions need to line up. Don't give me lip service. Right. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's their strength and vulnerability, and you need to get there. It's okay. It's not.
And
it's
you might
okay.
fail.
You'll be better,
and that's
for it.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's not what you say; it's what you do, and those need to line up. I try my best to line those things up.
Yeah,
I love it. Well, thank you guys both so much. I think this has been good. It's covered a lot of information. Not only because are you guys a military family, you're a blended family, MTI. So I know y'all are serious. Okay.
We didn't know what we were going to get just now, but I'm glad it went the way it did.
I was like, I have to go to attention in a minute. I was going to
see a lot of
if you need me to.
No, we good. I got out for a reason, okay?
I'll let you know when I'm on the way.
That's right. This has been really good, though. Thank you both so much. And I think that's a wrap.
100%. Yeah, so we have other episodes in store. But again, thank y'all so much, Jenna and Anthony, for coming to visit us on today. Loving to hear your story, and hopefully it does inspire other couples out there. I'm sure that it does. Again, if you have questions, comments, any feedback that you want to provide us, please feel free to hit us up on any of our socials. Y'all know where it is. It's down there and the links there below. But hey, without further ado, be blessed, be you, just be out.
I'm blessed to be me.